Next, we have Emily Merrill from Zions Bank. We're super excited to have her today too. She's also an Aggie, and she graduated with her bachelor's in finance, and she got a minor in management information systems. Right now, she's working as an associate credit analyst at Zions Bank. So we'd like to welcome Emily, and you can take it whenever you're ready, Emily.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Nicole. I'm really excited to be here. It's great to see some familiar faces, and it feels like not very long ago that I was in all of your same shoes. So I'm happy to be here. Nicole kind of gave an intro on me, but again, so I'm working for Zions Bank right now. I'm in what's called their banker development program. I'll just give a quick overview of it, and then I'll move on and talk about, commercial banking and what I'm here to talk about. But the banker development program at Zions Bank, it's an excellent opportunity. It's for after you graduate. If you're interested, it's 12 to 18 months long. It's a good career development program. So for the summer, I've been in classes. You spend about 4 months getting credit training in like a classroom setting. And then after that, you rotate through different departments in the bank for 3 to 4 rotations that are 3 months long. So in the fall, I'm going to be starting in the real estate banking group, and I'll be working as a credit analyst on real estate deals. So I'm super excited about that. That's a little bit of my background, but I'll go ahead and talk about commercial banking now. So when I thought, if I had been in your shoes and someone had said, what is a commercial bank? Like, do you know what a commercial bank is? I think if we were in a classroom and the professor said, raise your hand if you know what a commercial bank is, I would have raised my hand. And then if the professor had said, okay, Emily, explain to me a commercial bank, I think I would have just stumbled around and fumbled and been like, I'm not really sure. So I want to kind of talk a little bit more about commercial banking and what it is. Essentially, if you think about retail banking, that's, you're going to have deposits and you're going to have loans to consumers and different products, commercial, credit cards, things like that. That's like retail banking. Commercial banking, it's the same thing, but for businesses. So oftentimes a commercial bank is also going to have a retail division. So like Zions Bank, Wells Fargo, KeyBank, Cash Value Bank, all of those banks that you may be familiar with as a retail bank also have a commercial division. So I'm working in commercial banking at Zions Bank, which also has a retail division. There's a lot of different roles you can go into in commercial banking. Many of them are centered around lending and around loans, but there's other ones as well. So I want to talk about a few of those, and then I'll get into lending because that's where I'm most familiar with. That's what I do. But one of them is there's roles in like regulation and auditing and compliance. So banks are heavily regulated by the government. There's a lot of laws and regulations around banks that they have to follow. So there are teams within the bank and without the bank that make sure that banks are in compliance with all of those laws. They go in, they assess risk and watch to make sure that the regulations are being kept up with. So you might work internally in the bank doing that, working on a risk team or a compliance team. But then there's also external auditors that go around to different banks and work as bank regulators for government entities like the FDIC, the OCC, the Federal Reserve, and then there's state organizations as well. So lots of opportunities there. Another thing, there's Treasury Management within commercial banking, which is basically working with companies for things that you would think of more on the retail side, like corporate credit cards, or helping with accounts receivable. Like if a company wants help managing their accounts receivable, then they could use a treasury management product for that. or there's programs that will check fraud, things like that you can get into with Treasury Management. But ultimately, I think one of the most common routes to go in commercial banking is in lending. So some entry-level positions, you might start as a credit analyst that does underwriting. So underwriting is another word that I heard a lot, but didn't really know what it meant until I started my job. So underwriting is basically the process of analyzing a loan opportunity and deciding if it's a good idea or a bad idea for the bank. So if I'm underwriting something, I'll do what's called a credit presentation. And that's going to involve analyzing risk in a lot of different areas. So I'll look at the industry, and there's some websites where you can find industry information and trends and historical data. So I might analyze the industry, and then I might write about the business, the history of the business, its management, and then there's a section that just covers all of the risks that I see and possibilities in the future that could cause problems. And then financial analysis, which is, I think, one of the most fun things to do. You take the you take the company's financial statements, and you do what's called spreading, where you put them, basically it just kind of standardizes the financial statements. So you take a look at those, there's a bunch of ratios you calculate, and then you look at trends and you do analysis and you write it up and you talk with the borrower. So it's really fun, really interesting. And that's kind of what the underwriting process is. That's kind of what it looks like. And there's a lot of different areas that you can lend in. So I'll talk about the ones at Zions Bank, because that's where I am. So some of our different lending divisions, we have one called Practice Pathways, and that one lends specifically to like veterinarians and dentists. Then we have two different commercial real estate divisions. So one of them is called National Real Estate, and that one's a little bit more back end. So it's like buying real estate deals from other banks, and you don't interact with the client quite as much there. Then we have the real estate banking group, which is the one that I'll be going to in a few weeks, where it's more client facing and real estate deals. Then there's commercial lending, which is just businesses of any sort, up to, I believe it's 40 million in revenue, but I might have to check on that. And then after that, corporate is the other commercial lending division that takes the bigger deals that commercial doesn't. There's also a dealer finance, which is lending specifically to car dealerships. So that's kind of fun. And then we have a special assets group, and that's going to be true of any bank that the special assets group is basically where loans, like bad loans, go to the special assets group, and then they try to, restructure them or do what they can to save those loans. So some of the roles, how it works at Zions Bank is you might come in as like a financial analyst. So maybe on the credit presentation, all you do is the financial part, the financial analysis part. And then you might move into a role as a portfolio manager, where you get to, you're in charge of an entire portfolio of loans, and you do the underwriting on a lot more of them. You start to interact with the client a bit more. Then you might move into the relationship manager position, where you're actually going out. It's more, there's more sales in it. You go out and get business, and that one's very client facing. So that's kind of one of the career paths you can take. But there's a lot of options and a lot of places to go in commercial banking. But I've loved it so far. I don't have, a ton of experience. I'm new, but I always thought that banking, it was kind of my backup. I was like, well, if nothing else, I can go into banking. And I kind of imagined myself like sitting in a branch making car loans all day. But what I've learned over the last 6 months is that there's way more options. It's robust analytics and fun client interactions, and it's really a great career option if it's something you're interested in. But that's kind of a spiel on commercial banking. I would love to hear any questions you have. Again, I'm new, but if I don't know the answer to your question, I probably know who does know the answer, so I can give you a contact if nothing else.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Could you just tell us a little bit about the barriers to entry to get into troubled assets? Like, what's that like?
I think that it depends on where you're at. If you come to Zions Bank, the Banker Development Program, there's actually an option to rotate in the special assets group. So I'm looking at doing a rotation in the special assets group. And so it's possible to get in without very much experience. But yeah, so I don't know if that answers your question.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We have time for one or two more questions. Anybody has one?
I have a question. So Emily, you're there with Zions Bank. Maybe there's a lot of commercial banks out there, and I know that Zions is going to do a whole other day here on campus. Why would you tell students that they should be interested in coming to that, be interested in Zions, maybe above some of the other commercial banks? I'll let you give a shameless plug.
Okay, I would love to do that. We had a meeting a few weeks ago. All the people in the Banker Development Program met with our recruiting team. We kind of talked about the recruiting process, and the hands down answer from everybody of the best part of the recruiting process was the people. I cannot speak highly enough about the people at Zions Bank. Everybody that I've met with has been so kind, so helpful, and they're knowledgeable people, but they're willing to help you. They're willing to come down to your level and give you the support that you need. I've in my class of 30 people, we've met with the president of the Band Corporation, which is the parent company of Zions Bank. He came and met with us for an hour and chatted with us. We had virtual dinner with the CEO of Zions Bank. Like from the ground up, everybody is kind, genuine, they have integrity, and they want to help you succeed. I feel no shortage of support and help in my career. So thanks for the question, Nate. That was a good one.
Sounds good. I just put Emily's LinkedIn in the chat so that everybody can connect with her on LinkedIn. And you can contact her if you have any more questions. Also, another shout out, our Zions Day is next Thursday from 3 to 5:45. We have several different options for that, and we'll be sending that out again on Canvas throughout the week. So just keep your eyes open for that. We're very excited about it.